Hello. Thank you for inviting us to speak to the Hawaii and Okinawa Clean Energy Partnership. We are honored to speak with you all today, and we are excited to share with you the exciting things going on in the hydrogen space. We are a company called Millennium Rain Energy, and we're from Dayton, Ohio. My name is Chris McQuinney, and I'm the CEO and founder of the company. We would like to share with you a presentation called The Chicken or the Egg. We believe that Millennium Rain Energy is a hydrogen and energy technology company for the new millennium, and that the chicken or the egg has been the main issue and obstacle to not allowing hydrogen to proliferate around the planet. And so we're going to show you what we believe is the answer to the chicken or the egg. Hydrogen is a safe and transformative energy carrier, and hydrogen can be produced with zero carbon footprint by utilizing wasted or curtailed green energy to make hydrogen from water with MRE's electrolysis process. And hydrogen can play two significant roles. One is decarbonizing the energy grid. You can take hydrogen and make it from water electrolysis, use big wind and solar or geothermal or hydroelectric, all renewable and sustainable sources of electricity, and turn that into hydrogen and store that energy for later times, maybe when the wind's not blowing and the sun's not shining. So by providing long-term energy storage at 73% less cost than batteries, hydrogen can enable a large-scale integration of renewable electricity into the energy grid system and allowing for the distribution of sustainable renewable energy across regions. The second thing is decarbonizing transportation. Today's transportation sector creates more than 20% of all the CO2 emissions, and hydrogen-powered vehicles with their high performance and fast refueling times can exceed battery EVs to achieve a broader decarbonization of transportation segments. And a good way to get this going is to have a place where the cars always return to the same place. In other words, start by supporting local fleets with H2 demands, and they can have return to base fueling. So let me introduce you to the chicken. The chicken is the car, the fuel cell car. This is Toyota's Mirai fuel cell car on the left. And then the egg, which is on the right, which this is our station at the Navy Research Lab in Washington, DC. And it's our Model 100 station, actually. So we believe that the chicken is the car because the car moves around. And the egg is the station because it's stationary and it sits in one place all the time. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? And in the hydrogen space, this is an age-old challenge has been, do you manufacture and sell hydrogen cars only to have your customers not have any place to fuel? Or do you build and install hydrogen infrastructure only to have no customers with cars to sell your hydrogen to? This has plagued the entire industry for a long, long time. Currently, in California, the pathway being executed by industry is expensive and relies on the government for subsidies. The California model here has the state put up $200 million to fund up to 80% of the station's costs. And to win an award from the pool of funds, stations have to serve over 100 cars per day and be at a fast fill, pre-chilled hydrogen station, which is an SAE J2601 fueling protocol. Multiple organizations compete for state funding and install stations. Several auto manufacturers sell fuel cell cars. Toyota committed to building and selling cars and also put up millions of dollars for stations. Stations cost between $3 to $4 million and can fuel up to 100 to 200 cars per day. There are usually only 10 or so cars in an area when a station opens after you've just spent all that money. And then how about without subsidies, it's clear that this model will fail because there are not enough cars to sell all of the hydrogen to. In 8 years, only 50 stations have been developed, and there are about 8,000 fuel cell cars running around on the streets in California right now. Because station providers are getting subsidized and thereby making good money installing stations, they have no incentive to make the stations in a way that would create a business model that could self-propagate. So how long will those subsidies last? And governments everywhere are running out of money. So we think that this is a doomed way to go about it. But it was good that they did it because it at least jump-started it and gave the auto industry a place to put a lot of cars and test them out. Recent developments have occurred that has created a paradigm shift needed to solve the chicken and the egg question. MRE has patented, trademarked, and received certificates of attestation on 16 products that will build the hydrogen fueling infrastructure in a manner that will dynamically match the supply of H2 with its demand. In MRE, scalable hydrogen fueling appliance provides the scalability to start with a small, expensive stations at 1/20th the cost of the California model and grow each station to the next factory produced level with 3 consecutive sizes that you can scale up to. Then a final level of utility scale hydrogen production from renewables could use to be distributed into the network of stations that we've built. The third thing is the commercially available fuel cell cars have now been returned to dealers at the end of their first lease period or purchase. These cars can be purchased and shipped to locations outside of California and sold together as a package with the stations. The best way to have the chicken and the egg in this to beat this problem is to have the chicken and the egg in the same nest. Then the chicken can hatch the eggs. A company that can provide both the cars and the hydrogen infrastructure can have more control over its own destiny by building infrastructure to dynamically match the demand. That same company can control the demand by controlling the cars sales and developing a membership structure to allow only those members to access the stations. So the key would be when these two get together to hatch a rooster. And now you have a chicken and a rooster. And any company that does both is kind of like the rooster. So we have a new approach to developing H2 infrastructure. And if we look at this side-by-side comparison, you just choose which ones makes more sense. The current competitions and what's going on in California is one $4 million station with 500 kilograms a day, pre-chilled hydrogen with communications with the car at 10,000 PSI, centrally located for maybe 10 cars to start off with a need for 1,000 cars to be profitable. So in order for this station to make money, it needs 1,000 cars within a 5-mile radius, all nursing hydrogen off of that station on a daily basis. 5-mile radius could take up to 1 hour to get to the station in some cities like LA and in San Francisco. How long will it take to get 142 cars fueling here per day to make this station pay off? And there's usually one nozzle, and so you see these long lines. And so you could get there and it may take 5 to 6 minutes to fuel the car, but because you're in line, it takes you 40 or 50 minutes to fuel the car. So Millennium Marine Energy's approach is to start with one and expand the market with demand. The M470 is a product that we'll show you later that we can install 8 of those and they make 64 kilograms a day in the same area for the same money as the 500 kilogram per day station, and there's no pre-chill or communications at this 10,000 PSI station. So as you start to get more customers, you start putting in more stations and you strategically locate them and you're matching the supply and the demand. So that by the time you get all 8 stations in, now each car only has to drive 7.5 minutes from a station and demand is only 20 cars per day. to be profitable at a savings to the customer of $5 per kilogram. So this is a much better way, and there are 8 nozzles now in the same area where there were only 1 before, so the shorter lines and happier customers. So which way would you choose to build infrastructure? So the markets for Millennium Marine Energy products are basically 3 different markets. One is the transportation market, which includes fuel cell cars and fuel cell trucks, semi trucks. There's over 11,000 fuel cell cars on the road around the world now. And then number 2 is there's forklifts for fueling forklifts in distribution centers and other opportunities. There's over 34,000 fuel cell forklifts in use. And then lastly, and probably one of the biggest markets and coming on strong, is storing renewable energy. The big wind and solar utility scale systems really need to have storage of those electrons for later when the wind's not blowing and the sun's not shining. And hydrogen is a really good way to do that. So our plan for the transportation sector in the mainland United States is to build the U.S. transcontinental hydrogen highway fueling infrastructure. The blue line that goes across the map is our route from Los Angeles, California to New York City, located at big box stores and car dealerships. So MRE already has installed 2, which now that's behind, it's 3 of the stations in the Ohio area. And we're looking to install 27 stations altogether. And we're excited about that. We've ramped up our production here at our facility in Dayton, Ohio, and to put these out and keep up with the other demand that we have besides that. The strategy that Millennium Marine Energy has is the scalable hydrogen fueling appliance is really the key. It gives MRE a better pathway to consumer adoption. And we've established ourselves in the market and will become a leading hydrogen fueling infrastructure company by making hydrogen cost effective for consumers. And the way we're doing this is by dynamically matching supply and demand. Now, that's the 3rd time you've heard me say that, and it is a very important piece of the puzzle. So how do you do that? Well, you start out small with a station that we call our Model 200. It's a locator or a starter station. So you put it out there and it might handle 4 cars, and then all of a sudden you get run over and you got more cars than your station can handle. So you take it out and you move it to a new location and you bring in the next model, which is our Model 300. And then the same thing happens. So then we can go up one more level with our M470 product. We can, by this time, we can get the gas price from a GGE down to $3.89 per gallon of gas equivalent if we have a $10 per gallon, 10 cents per kilowatt hour input cost for the electricity. So consumers get better than gasoline pricing for hydrogen at the dominator station level. And particularly in states like Hawaii, California, and in countries like Europe, where gasoline is more expensive, this is actually cheaper than gasoline at $3.89 per GGE. So I want to give you a closer look at the expansion. This is in the city of Denver, Colorado. And at the top of the page here, we've located a Model 200 to start with. And then down here, we've got a Model 200. And then here, we've got a Model 300. So we start letting people know that we have these stations and people start buying cars. And so then we have one person get a car up here at the top at our Model 200, and then 2, then 3, then 4. Then all of a sudden we know that there's another one coming in that wants to buy fuel from that station. So we're going to move that station over here and open up a new territory and bring in the Model 300, which can handle 12 cars. So then down here, though, this station didn't get any traction, no cars, no customers. So we just simply moved it and to open up a new territory that hopefully would attract cars. And then we have the Model 300 down there at Aspen Park, and it started getting cars, and it starts bringing in more cars and more customers. The word's getting around. People are buying more cars, and the station is getting overrun again. So then we move that station to open up a new territory, and we bring in our M470 model. And so this allows for you to dynamically match supply and demand and move stations around. And then the new stations that you moved around, then they can start attracting cars and more can come to the existing stations. So this was able to have an initial cost and then reuse that initial cost to open up more territory. Now, once you get a network set up, ultimately you want to produce large amounts of hydrogen with inexpensive electricity and move this electricity to the station network that you've already set up. So this is our mega harvester product. And one of those platforms can produce 160 kilograms a day. So if you put 3 platforms together, you're at 480 kilograms a day over a 24-hour period of time from wind and solar. And these systems can scale up to handle over 100 megawatts of utility scale wind and solar. But that system that you're looking at there with 3 platforms would eat 1 megawatt of power to drive all 30 of those stacks. So this product would be used to make green hydrogen from large-scale wind and solar farms, sometimes with curtailed power, meaning they have to shut down the power because there's too much of it and they can put it on the grid. And at that time, you can get free energy. This means lower cost of hydrogen to compete with gasoline in all 50 states instead of just Hawaii and California. This phase of the development will enable distribution of billions of kilograms of H2 annually. This is how MRE will generate billions of dollars in recurring revenue for our shareholders, and so that we can continue to build and grow products that will be better for the hydrogen economy. MRE's utility scale storage solution can provide renewable energy storage in the form of hydrogen at 73% less cost than batteries. This is based on a DOE study done in 2017 that showed that lithium-ion battery storage in the 60 megawatt scale is $380 per kilowatt hour. Our system can do that for $99 a kilowatt hour with our mega harvester and our super tanker storage vessels combined. So this revelation in energy storage method and cost reduction will be the most important and transformative impact for the future of utility scale renewable energy. This system serves the transportation need while also allowing for the sun and wind to be stored for later times and be placed on the grid when there is no wind and sun. So MRE has a growing portfolio, a robust IP portfolio, and MRE has efforts to have more of this IP put in place. But for right now, we've got 9 patents issued in the United States, Europe, and Canada, 1 pending. We have 3 trademarks, and we have 2 certificates of attestation. And this is a really important piece of what we have accomplished. Over 3 years and $1.5 million, MRE built products and had them certified by through a process with CSA Group, and we received something called a certificate of an attestation to IR 3-18 for scalable hydrogen fueling appliances, and also for hydrogen generators. And this certificate basically, certificate says that our scalable hydrogen fueling appliance system has limited upfront permitting because it is considered to be derated to be a appliance. So as an appliance, it's outside the jurisdiction of permitting authorities. It would be like you went to Lowe's or Home Depot and you bought a barbecue grill and you put it out on the back porch and you were going to cook with it. You didn't have to get a permit to do that because it's rated as an appliance. That means extra safety measures were put into it so that people could run it and operate it, and it would operate safely. So this is a big deal because it'll help to propagate the hydrogen infrastructure and shorten the time it takes to do installations. So, our systems are factory produced with these certificates of attestation. And we have a 40,000 square foot facility in Dayton, Ohio. We have 12 employees. We've raised almost $17 million to date. Our website, you can find out more about us at mreh2.com. And we are debt free as a company at this point. So thank you for listening to Millennium Marine Energy. And we hope that you have great success in all of your renewable energy ventures. And that I think it's a really great thing that Hawaii and Okinawa are working together to help educate and teach others how to best take advantage of this great opportunity in renewable energy and in hydrogen. Thank you very much.